Markets were down a little bit today ahead of Jay Powell's speech tomorrow to clarify his remarks the other day in the light of a strong jobs report and some other data that could potentially be coming out before now and then. But right now, the Dow finished down, well, pretty flat, down 0.10%, S&P down 0.61%, NASDAQ down a full percent today. And this is all about the markets backing up a little bit, thinking that Powell, because of the jobs report that came out last week, strong jobs report, that Powell's going to come out and maybe be a little bit more stern in his talk on the markets. He kind of surrendered to the markets last week and gave up his position, saying that Fed policy was neutral, that financial conditions have tightened quite a bit. So he's kind of giving into the markets there and letting the markets have their way. And what's interesting is with as many times as he talked about disinflation, meaning the slowing, disinflation being the slowing rate of inflation, meaning we still have inflation, it's slowing. It's not deflation where prices are dropping, it's just the slowing pace of inflation. So he is in the camp that inflation has definitely peaked and plateaued, and that there's no chance of a double peak inflation. Well, he didn't say 100%, but that's kind of what he's indicating, and that he's going to be able to avoid a recession because the economy is still strong and can withstand the impact of the rate hikes. But the problem is inflation is still high. The Fed funds rate is not high enough. They're not at neutral. Financial conditions are looser than they were basically when they started, meaning interest rates for real estate, stock prices, valuation stock prices, and recovery of the stock markets. So it'll be interesting to see what he comes out and says tomorrow. And if he's really hawkish and kind of reiterates and doubles down on a hawkish speech, then obviously the markets will sell off a little bit. If he comes out dovish again and just reinforces what he said, then the markets will take off, because right now they're pricing in no recession, and they're pricing in that basically inflation is going to come down quickly. And the unfortunate thing is, this is the same Fed that said inflation was transitory. Now they're saying inflation is going to be coming down quickly in their expectations, but at the same token, they're saying they still have more work to do. So tomorrow should be an interesting day to see what the Fed has to say. Let's take a look at the charts. Here's the Dow just kind of hanging out in this area here. Same thing with NASDAQ, hit the peak here, retracting, kind of matching this other pop over here. Same thing with the S&P. S&P broke this level back in September, and the VIX catching a little bit of a bounce today, the Dixie catching a little bit of a bounce, and the 10-year catching a little bit of a bounce. So is this a reversal or just a temporary bounce right now? And I think tomorrow, with Jay Powell coming out, his discussion will have a lot to do with it. Bitcoin, let's take a look at that. Bitcoin kind of retracting in this area here. And of course, the levels to watch. Really, what we want to do is we want to look at the closes and just go to a line chart. And really what you're looking at is right here. You're looking at 22.6, but this is still higher lows. I'm looking at the daily chart. We've broken that trend right there where we're putting in higher lows. So it's broken down below, wanting to back test that. So we'll have to see what that turns out to be. And of course, the level to watch is right here at 22.6. So if Bitcoin can hold up at that 22.6 level, it might be able to kind of consolidate in this area. Obviously, if it breaks that, then you're looking back down to the 20,000 level. And then, obviously, we'll see where it goes from there in terms of what happens with markets. And of course, the traditional markets are going to play in big on this. And again, the only thing that really is interesting here is that 200-week moving average that Bitcoin rejected off of has not been able to reclaim. And that is not a good sign. The last time that happened, big drop. Last time it happened, on the 50, the 100, and the 200 kind of hovered in that area and then ultimately sold off. So the fact that it could not reclaim the 200, and we've got this moving average cross we've never had in the history of Bitcoin, we just don't know what that's going to look like. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that. Let's take a look at Ethereum. And Ethereum is above the 200-week right now, losing, not being able to gain that 50-week. So a little bit stronger than Bitcoin right now. So we'll just have to sit back and wait for Fed Chair Powell to come out tomorrow and see what he is thinking about the markets. So that's what I'm looking at today. All eyes are on the Fed tomorrow. These are the things that we are looking at. This channel is all about entrepreneurship, real estate investing, real estate development, buying businesses, growing and scaling businesses, starting businesses, leadership mindset. I've got a number of playlists. Check those out with, I don't know, over 1,000 videos, maybe a couple thousand, I don't know, on all of those topics: residential and commercial real estate development, flipping houses, doing land development, doing spec houses. And then, of course, lots of content on buying businesses, starting and scaling businesses, leadership, mindset, all of those things. So go check out the playlists, and I'll see you on the next video.